I'm going to welcome up next. We've had three poets. So we're going to have someone who's written some fiction for us now. Alison Theresa Gibson reading an excerpt from a story.
Hi, everyone. So I wrote this piece of flash fiction in response to a writing prompt about envy, which turned out to be quite a good fit for the green issue. I'm just going to read about half of the story. It's called Greenwith. 1. Her hair was a shining chestnut sheen, like the horse I dreamed about as an 8-year-old. I never had a horse. Our family wasn't the sort to have horses, although I didn't understand that as a child. Every time I saw that long hair swishing, it reminded me that everything my parents had taught me about fairness was wrong. She was beautiful with her chestnut mane, and I was not. Every class she walked into, she had someone to talk to. I sat in the back with Fee. We would sit together, alone, sniggering. Only we knew how stupid they were. They could all go to hell. Except for her and her chestnut mane. She could stay, as long as I could look at her and imagine my face in her life. 2. Fee was sick. Sickly, my mother said. For weeks she hadn't been at school, and every class I grew more invisible until my skin adopted the colour of the school's wallpaper, waxen green. My chameleon skin and I slunk from room to room, always in the chair that no one else wanted. Teachers forgot about me. Students noticed only when I tripped or sneezed, or somehow made my unwanted presence obvious. My slinking grew more pronounced. My fingers dragged towards the ground. My hair, the dirty blonde that only suits surfers, hung like blinders around my face. My fingers scratched the skin of my arm, but even when I drew blood, it was waxy, colourless. There was nothing to me. 3. Music class was last thing on Friday. The air was hot and motionless, and tempers were ferocious. 3 fights had broken out during lunch. 6 students were suspended. 1 teacher had a fat lip. Our eyes burned with the sun we weren't supposed to live under, and our dreams were made of ice. Music was a free-for-all. The teacher sat with her feet on her desk, fanning herself, and we pretended not to know she was cooling her fanny at the same time. 4. I sat in my seat, the seat no one else wanted, against the wall, my waxen friend. I plucked at a guitar. 3 chords, enough for a mournful blues chant. I plodded along a walking bass line and muttered nonsense words about dispossession. The class was in disarray with retellings of the fights, but I was invisible in my waxy green shell. Are there words to that? Her chestnut mane stuck to her sweaty forehead. My fingers stopped, frozen with the attention. That's a blues song, right? It's great. Are there words? Words filled my head, but none were right. No. You should write some. Like that poem you wrote in English, you'd be good at it. She left a red-brown blur and a sensation I didn't recognize. A creeping warmth, which had no relation to sweat, filled my belly. You'd be good at it. That poem you wrote. My skin fled red against the waxy green behind me. Not only was her life magical, she had the magical gift of whatever was now filling my lungs, the gift of noticing. 5. Fee came back on Monday. She was all bone and sunken eyes, and hair hanging in worse bangs than mine. I sat beside her and felt myself separating, like yolk from its white. I was not her. I had substance. I did not need to sit in the back and snigger. I was noticeable. I'd been noticed. All she could do was breathe in raspy bursts, but my time was coming. The warmth in my belly pulsed, telling me that if I was patient, it would all be mine. They would all see. Thank you.
Excellent reading, Alison. Thanks for sharing that. So as Alison said, that's only the first half. So if you're really curious about what happens next in that story, grab yourself a copy of the magazine if you've not already. So for the next section, I'm going to hand you over to our lead designer, Mernon Barton. They're going to steer us through. You still with us, Mernon?
Hello there. Yep, I'm still here. I'm just going to share my screen with you all so that you can see this lovely virtual exhibit. That should be. Can everybody let me know if they can see that? Just
Yeah, the gallery's on screen.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of, yeah, wonderful. Great stuff. So I'm just going to take the opportunity to grab all of my bits and bobs into place here. Yeah, and we are ready to go. So for the first one, this is I just wanted to talk a little bit about this program. This is a program that's called Art Steps. And it's an online browser-based program that allows you to create your own virtual exhibits like the one that you see in front of us here. And I would highly recommend it for artists that want to do these sort of virtual exhibits, that want to get some of their work put into a sort of pseudo-physical space like this. And it just adds a bit of gravitas to it, I believe. And I think that if any artists out there that do want to use this and do want to get people to join in, it's a wonderfully useful program. If anybody has any questions about it, do feel free to come and ask me after the event. So the first one that we're going to go to is we're going to go across here. You see some of Leanne's art on the wall there just as we passed, and I'm going to pause it here. I do believe we have Aaron Law in the call. So Rafe, if you won't mind popping him on, and we'll see what Aaron has said about his wonderful photography piece that's ended up in the magazine.
I don't think Aaron's made it, and he'd be meant to, but he's not currently here. So have you got his intro?
I do have his intro.
Okay,
yeah.
Brilliant. Cheers.
Okie dokie. Perfect. So what Aaron has written about this, he is a Coventry-based photographer, interested in all things Coventry. He lives in Ulsley, which goes into the areas of ancient Arden, hedgerows and fields that have remained untouched for centuries, despite changed methods of farming. The River Sherborne begins in the field next to the location in this shot, which is the beginnings of the settlement in Coventry over 1,200 years ago. There's some incredible backstory into this photo. Yeah, and we absolutely love this piece. So it ended up in the magazine. Thank you very much to Aaron there for sending in this piece. We're now going to move across this guided tour, going to go around the corner here, and we can see Yellow Wishes by Jenny Nash. And I believe we do have Jenny in the call.
Fortunately, Jenny is stuck in traffic and hasn't made it yet. Are you okay to read that one as well?
Yeah,
Sorry.
no problem at all.
Cheers.
No, it's okay. So this wonderful piece, we saw a lot of sort of the creative flow behind this piece. It's such a wonderfully evocative piece. And Jenny, she uses the experiential nature of her photographic practice as an important component in her work. She documents the spaces of memory and appropriates PTSD treatments, such as returning to these sites. I'm so sorry. It's moved along automatically. Just put that on pause. No. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the first time we're using this software. Just getting some glitches out of the way. Right, pause on this one. Okay, perfect. Such as returning to sites of past trauma with her camera. Alternatively, she confronts past trauma in these self-portraiture sessions, which enables her to access deep memories and converse with elements of her history thought to have been abandoned to the unconscious. This practical methodology of solo phototherapy is derived from the work of Rosie Martin and Joe Spence, who developed phototherapy in the 80s. Nash experiments with different methods of deconstruction and reconstruction of self-portraits in an attempt to draw content from the unconscious into the conscious as research into photographic abstract expressionism. I think she's shown that in this piece. This is all practiced within the perimeters of her own methodology of autopathography, which she developed from the work of photographic artist Dr. Spencer Rowell. She began as a documentary and protest photographer, which has taken her all over England in an attempt to document specifically LGBT pride and her work with Stand Up to Racism, both wonderful causes. She aims to amplify the voices of BAME and LGBT communities by breaking narrative media structures. Yes, this is an absolutely wonderful piece, and we definitely loved how much of the nature you can see in this piece, how much story and narrative is in this piece. It just all came together for this one, so it had to go into the magazine. Yeah, we'll go on to the next one. Would the artists like to introduce the work themselves? Rafe, have we got them in the call?
João is in the call. Are you okay to introduce yourself, João? He was here earlier at the very start, and currently is not on the list. I wonder if he's had to drop out. Oh, that's a shame. Are you okay to do this one?
Yeah, no problem at all. Unfortunately, yep.
João Saranga
must have dropped. So they were born in 1985 in Lisboa, Portugal. Saranga describes his work as essentially abstract drawing with a ballpoint pen. So you're looking at this piece and you can see the level of detail, the incredible line work that is in this piece. And you sort of realize that this is actually a photograph of a drawing that this person has, spent a very long time meticulously drawing out. It's absolutely incredible. He is attracted by forms and shapes in nature, referring to emotional states and the ideas of transformation. This drawing submitted for the Green issue specifically illustrates a micro-universe, the inside of a plant or a body. Saramago feels that this is intricate, elaborated, and organic, and this form invites the observer to take out the meanings and make their own interpretations. And I think it's phenomenal work. That is wonderful, great stuff. And then we'll be heading on to this wonderful piece here, Greenpeace by Tara Rutledge. Do we have Tara in the chat?
I'm not seeing her. I'm just going to check she isn't under another name. Bear with me 1 sec. If you're there, Tara, give us a shout. No, she was going to read for herself, but I'm not seeing her in the list, mate. So sorry.
No problem at all. I love all of these pieces. It's very easy for me to talk about these. Cool. Yeah, this one as well is incredibly evocative. I just love the imagery. I love how it's based in Coventry, but where Here Comes Everyone is from. That's obviously you can see the cathedral in the background there. But Tara Rutledge is a visual artist based in Coventry. She has quite a wide range of artistic influence and loves to experiment with different media, including projection, photography, soundscapes, prose, lighting, and augmented reality, which is very cool. Greenpeace, this one photographed, is one of the several works created by Alina Azeda for the Rising Global Peace Forum in 2016. I believe she's referring to the statue in the background there. Each artwork was left in the ruins of Coventry Cathedral for someone to find and to adopt. Tara wanted to capture the depiction of this tank, an image of war and destruction, against the Statue of Reconciliation by Josefina de Vancoleselos, which represents peace and reunion. So people could, so while she put this sort of tank wrapped in this green fabric in the cathedral, people could just like pick this up and take this home with them. It was that sort of like living art that continues to change as it changes location, changes hands, and that changes its meaning. And I think that's wonderful. And this photo does really capture this juxtaposition, probably of the cathedral that was completely destroyed by war, and then this very obvious symbol of war there, all wrapped up. I think that's a wonderful piece. And next, I believe we'd be able to take a short break. Yeah, we're just going to pause at the middle here and take a break. Rafe, do you want to?
Hi everyone. Yeah, we're just going to take a 5-minute comfort break. So just for toilet and grabbing a drink and stuff, and then we'll come back. We'll do the second half of the art showcase. And we've got a few more readers with some poetry and stories. So yeah, if anyone wants to do that, just come back in 5 minutes. So we'll be back here at 10 to 3 UK time.
See you all shortly.